Hi my little jewels, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be giving you guys a full review on the new limited edition Anastasia Beverly Hills PRISM palette, which I believe is part of their holiday collection. I have some live swatches for you. I have a tutorial on this look I got here. And then at the end of the video, I will give you guys my full-on review, let you guys know what I think. So before we get into the live swatches, let's talk about the packaging first. It comes in this gorgeous matte black box. I think this is the best packaging they have so far, which I know one of the big questions and things that people are thinking and asking is this gonna be as bad as the Subculture palette? That palette got a lot of really bad reviews. I actually never purchased the palette. The color scheme just didn't really speak to me, and I don't know, now I'm kind of wishing I bought it just so I could compare all three. So I will be referencing comparisons to the Modern Renaissance palette because that is the only Anastasia Beverly Hills palette I have. But comparing the packaging, oh my gosh, this one, I'm sorry, Modern Renaissance, but you got your butt whooped. Just kidding. I love that palette, but I love this packaging. Now, when you open it, just like all the other palettes, it has that velvet exterior, just black velvet and gold. Can you get more classy? Ugh, this like prism geometric shape. Ugh, I just love it. Love the packaging. Now, really quick, I have seen some reviews of people who are comparing this one to the Subculture. For the most part, from what I've heard, they said that this one is definitely more comparable to the formula of Modern Renaissance. Not anything like Subculture. So if you're someone who did not like the Subculture and were not really happy with the formula, I would not knock this one because I think from what I've heard, this is much different and definitely more comparable to Modern Renaissance. Again, I can't say firsthand because I don't have Subculture. Real quick, I do want to give you a comparison of Modern Renaissance and PRISM next to each other, just so that way you can kind of see an idea of the different shades. And if you have this palette, you can kind of see if this is something that you would want to purchase to complement your palette or to go along with. If you're curious to see how I like this palette, how I used it, then go ahead and keep watching. But first, let's get into the swatches. Okay guys, so before we get into the tutorial, I just want to talk about my first impressions of the swatches so far. Overall, I think this is a really great palette. Like I said, I never purchased the Subculture palette, so I don't really have that to compare to, but comparing it to the Modern Renaissance, I think it's very similar as far as quality and everything like that. There were a couple of the shades like SPHINX and OSIRIS, these two here, that as you saw, I had to go in a couple times with, which honestly, I don't really mind so much because sometimes when shimmer shades like that are too pigmented, there's a lot of fallout. So I personally don't mind. The shades like, what is it? Dimension and Throne, which are, this is Dimension, this is Throne, swatched beautifully. Holy cow, like these shades, as you saw, they only needed one swipe. Some of the mattes, as you can see, are a bit chalky. So this color here, which is Parallel, and then Saturn is a little bit patchy, and Sphere was a tad bit chalky. But okay, let me compare some to the Modern Renaissance really quick. Okay, so shades like Love Letter and Cypress Umber can be pretty patchy in the Modern Renaissance palette, and I'll swatch them next to these swatches right now. But then you have shades like Burnt Orange and the Golden Ochre. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But these two shades and like some of these ones are pretty smooth and soft, kind of like similar to the mattes up here. You have Eden and Unity that were pretty smooth. Lure kind of swatched a little patchy, but as you can see, it smoothed out really nice. So here, let me go ahead and show you. First, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch Love Letter, then I will swatch Cypress Umber. You'll see they can be a tad bit patchy as well. I'll swatch right here. So as you can see, even in the Modern Renaissance, it's a great palette, really hardly any bad reviews. There are a few shades that are a little patchier than others. Now I'm doing the Cypress Umber right here. As you can see, those are kind of patchy, similar to, you know, this shade here, which was Parallel, and also Saturn. So again, I'm not too upset about that because swatching with a finger and on the arm is not really necessarily a good indicator of how it's going to perform on the eyelid with a brush. So yeah, my first impression is I think this is a very great formulated palette, and these are what they look like. So let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this shade here, which is Unity, and I'm going to take I'm going to use this Moda crease brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and work that into the crease. I do have hooded eyes, so a little trick is to kind of just, so naturally, if you can see, my crease is right here. I'll talk about this throughout this video as well, but I am going to work all the way up here, work that color, blend it all the way up to kind of give the illusion that I have bigger eyelids. So let's go ahead and go in. Right off the back, I barely dipped my brush in, and I don't know if you can see there is a little fallout, but honestly, oof, a lot came out. You really can't have amazing pigmentation without there being a little fallout. I don't really mind. I really don't see the big deal about a lot of fallout as long as it ends up blending nice and pigmented. So anyways, let's go ahead and go in and do that. So that blended out actually really nicely. Oh, and I forgot to mention, by the way, guys, I am on day 4 of my microblading touch-up on my eyebrows. So if you see little flakes and stuff like that, yes, it's starting to flake. So anyways, my plan is I really want to use this gorgeous emerald green color, which is called Throne. So I'm needing a little bit darker of a transition shade. You know what, let's try out using Lure for that, this shade right here, which is kind of a mauve-y, cooler toned. So with the same brush, I'm gonna go ahead and be a little more precise and start working that into the crease as well. I think that blended out beautifully as well. If you are wanting a more natural look, you could totally stop here, maybe pop a little bit of Lucid on the eyelid, but these are so far are blending out really nicely. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and try out Obsidian, which is a black shade, and if you saw in the swatches, this one was a little patchy. We'll see how it performs on the eye. I'm gonna take a pencil brush by the brand Urban Glow, which I'll link all the brushes down below for you. So I'm gonna take this, and with Obsidian, I am going to just kind of focus it on the outer V here. Like I said, because I have hooded eyes, you will see me kind of bring it up further than my natural crease. Again, we're gonna pretend that my crease goes all the way up there. So just on the outer edge. Okay, not super pigmented right off the back. Okay, so actually for just depositing color, that went on quite nice so far. I'm going to blend it out a little bit with an e.l.f. crease brush, and let's see how that blends. So for a black, that actually blended out really easily. I actually really liked it. It is not a super intense black, which in my opinion is a good thing because as you can see, it's a little easier to work with. So yeah, definitely blended way better on the eye than it did on the swatch. So now let's go ahead and actually, you know what? First, let's go ahead and put some concealer to give our shadow something to stick to. I'm gonna go ahead and take my Tarte Shape Tape. Mine's in the color Fair Neutral. And I'm going to take an e.l.f. concealer brush and just kind of pack that on the inner portion of my eyelid. Another little trick if you have hooded eyes is to look up once you have wet concealer and you can see where it made a nice mark on where a higher crease would be. So I'm just gonna go ahead and follow that. Okay, now let's go ahead and dip into Throne. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, I'm taking an Wet n Wild. I think this is like called a small concealer brush. If I remember, again, I'll link all the brushes I'm using down below. So let's dip into that. Oh my goodness, you guys, this is beautiful. Ugh, you guys, so gorgeous. I love this shade. It is a duochrome shade. So if you look up close, there are some purple sparkles in here and it's just beautiful. Okay, so I want to kind of intensify that black a little bit in the corner. Again, don't act like you guys have never done this before. Kind of nasty, but I'm going to just lightly lick that pencil brush again and dip into the black and put that in the outer corner to intensify that just a bit. Once again, picking up that e.l.f. crease brush and I'm just going to blend the two here. And then afterwards, I'm gonna be taking a Wet n Wild crease brush to blend out the outer edges just a little bit. On this side, it did take off just a little bit of that Throne, so just with my finger, I'm gonna just tap. Now I'm going to take this shade Lure here again and with that e.l.f. crease brush, just kind of very carefully blend. Last bit of blending, going back in with Unity and that Moda crease brush and kind of blending more on the outer portion. Alright, I want an excuse to try out dimension here. So with my finger, I'm just going to go in and put that in the center of my eye to give it some dimension. So cheesy. Last, let's go ahead and take some Lucid and with a teeny tiny, it is flat but it's slightly pointed. This is from BH Cosmetics. I bought this in a kit, so I'm not sure if they sell this individually. I don't think they do, but any teeny tiny brush will work. And again, I want some crazy pigmentation. Well, let's see what it looks like before licking. BL. That shade is not the most pigmented, so try it wet. That's a little better. Okay, so that shade is not the most pigmented. This is kind of the first one that I'm not super impressed with. Let's see if getting our finger in there will give us a little more pigmentation. Oh, there we go. Yeah, Lucid, definitely use your finger. With that brush though, I'm gonna take that same shade Lucid and just very lightly put a little under my brow. Just to give it a little something. Okay guys, also I just want to tell you, this is a big no-no with microblading. You're not supposed to be wearing makeup or anything like that, at least for the first week, which the first time my initial microblading appointment, I followed religiously. I didn't put any makeup on, but this time around I am being naughty. So Andrea, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go off camera, pop on some lashes and lipstick, and I'll be right back. Okay, so in case you're wondering, I did pop on my Holy Grail favorite. I mentioned this in my recent monthly favorites video, but the Ardell Glamour Wispy Lashes. For lips, I popped on ColourPop's Magic Wand. It's a nice neutral. So now let's go to the bottom lash line. All right, to start, I'm gonna take Unity, and with my e.l.f. crease brush, I'm gonna start smudging that underneath. Alright, and the next color I want under there. You know what, screw it, let's be bold. Let's put Throne underneath there. Last but not least, I'm just going to put a quick coat of my Rimmel Lash Accelerator Mascara on my bottom lashes. I'll be right back, we'll be done. Okay, final thoughts time. So, I love this palette. From what I've tried so far, this shade, Throne, is just beautiful. I thought the mattes that I used, these two here, blended out beautifully. They really made it easy. The black, yes, it's not super pigmented, but it's very easy to work with. I do want to go ahead and get into the other colors. Obviously, comment down below and please let me know if you'd like to see kind of a more orangey, warm look with this palette. This is definitely very dramatic, very smoky green, going out, you know what I mean? And I'd be happy to do a more kind of everyday wearable look for you guys with this if you want. Then we can kind of see what the other shades are like, but I am so happy with this palette. When I first bought it, I had major buyer's remorse. I was like, oh my god, do I need this palette? But after using it, I am so happy. The only color in here that I feel like I will honestly never touch is this sphere color. I mean, yes, I think you can create a lot of fun looks. If you're someone who likes bright colors, then that will be your huge cup of tea. But for me, I'm not into the bright neon colors, but other than that, I think all of these colors are gorgeous. I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of this palette. And like I said, main thing I love about this is how it performed and blended out. So yes, if I had to give this a rating 1 through 10, 10 being like you absolutely every single person needs to have it, I would give this, so far from the shades I've used, a solid 8.5. I really enjoyed this palette. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to watch my video and review on the new Anastasia Beverly Hills PRISM palette. If you did find this review helpful and you enjoyed it, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And if you're watching this and are not officially part of my YouTube family, we would love to have you, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. My next video is going to be a scary story time, so if you are one of my spooky lovers watching this, I'm gonna take care of you next video. Other than that, guys, I will see you on Thursday.